Hi, friends. Today, I want to share a new story with you. I hope you enjoy it. Picture this: you're lying in a hospital bed, in pain, unsure if you'll survive the night. You call your parents for help, and instead of support, they tell you you're a burden, and that they'd rather go to a concert. That's exactly what happened to me, Natasha Wilson. On Christmas Eve, I was 33, alone with my 2-year-old twins, Ethan and Emily, needing emergency surgery, and my parents, my own family, chose Elton John tickets over helping me and their grandkids. What happened next didn't just hurt me, it changed everything. Let me take you back to that night. It was Christmas Eve at Las Vegas Medical Center. The air smelled like cleaning supplies, and the bright lights above made the room feel even colder. I was lying there, a widow, with terrible pain in my stomach from internal bleeding. It was likely caused by the stress and sadness I'd carried since my husband James died in a car crash 6 months earlier. Ethan and Emily were quietly playing in the corner, holding little toys, not knowing that I might not make it through the night. Valerie, the nurse, was checking my vitals. She was the only calm, kind presence in the room. But the worst pain came from a video call I had just made to my parents. All my life, I'd felt like I didn't matter much to them. My younger sister Jessica was always their favorite. They praised her for everything, even when she got a C++ on a test. They celebrated it. When I graduated college with honors, they barely noticed, because Jessica was in a local commercial that weekend. When I married James, they complained that the wedding was too far away. When my twins were born, they came once, stayed 20 minutes, and left, saying the babies were too noisy. I spent years trying to earn their love and approval, but I was always in the background while Jessica got all the attention. That night in the hospital, I wasn't just scared for myself, I was terrified for my children. Everyone I knew was out of town or busy with holiday plans. I had no one left to ask. So I called my parents, voice shaking, and begged them to watch the twins while I had surgery. What my mom said still haunts me: "Don't you dare ask us to cancel our plans again. We've had these Elton John tickets for months." She was angry, like I'd asked for something huge instead of a few hours of help. Then my dad added, cold and distant, "You're becoming a real problem, Natasha. We're retired now. We should be enjoying life, not dealing with your issues." I sat there, shocked, phone shaking in my hand. A burden, that's all I was to them. Not a daughter in danger, not a mom trying to keep her kids safe, just a problem in the way of their concert night. The tears came quietly, rolling down my cheeks onto the hospital blanket. Something broke inside me, not just from the pain, but from knowing that my parents didn't care whether I lived or died. And here's the worst part: I had been sending them $2,500 every month for the last 3 years. Since they retired early, I helped pay their bills, no questions asked. Even after James died and I could barely pay my own, I kept sending it. I cut back on everything, believing that family helps family. I even sent more recently because they said prices were going up. I thought I was doing the right thing. But there I was, maybe dying, and they wouldn't skip one concert to help me. The truth crushed me. Valerie, the nurse, must have noticed how hurt I was, because she gently touched my shoulder. "My friend Olivia is a nanny who works with kids who've been through tough times," Valerie said gently. "Let me call her for you." Her words felt like a lifeline. I nodded, barely able to speak. "Yes, please call her," I whispered. Ethan and Emily were too little to understand. Ethan was stacking blocks. Emily hugged her stuffed giraffe. But I knew how serious things were. They'd already lost their dad. They couldn't lose me too. And if something happened, I couldn't leave them with people who saw them as problems. In that painful moment, my body hurting and heartbreaking, I made a decision. I wasn't just asking for help. I was beginning to let go of the people who raised me but never really cared for me. When I put down the phone, old memories rushed back. Times when I was ignored, times I kept quiet just to avoid fights. My childhood was full of moments like that. Jessica's birthdays, where I cleaned up while she got all the praise. Family trips where she got the best seat, and I carried the bags. My parents always bragged about her, never me. James had been my safe place. "We'll make our own family," he used to say, full of love, one that knows how to love for real. And we did, until that drunk driver took him away, and I was left to face the world alone. When Olivia walked into the hospital room, it felt like hope had arrived. She had a calm, kind way about her. Her hair was pulled back, her smile gentle but confident. She knelt down to talk to the twins like they were the most important people in the world. Ethan gave her a block, and Emily laughed as Olivia pretended to nibble her giraffe. How much will she cost? I asked Valerie, worry creeping in. Medical bills were already high. James's insurance didn't cover everything. I was barely making it. Don't think about that right now, Valerie said. Let's get you ready for surgery. But I couldn't stop thinking. The $2,500 I usually sent my parents every month, it could go to Olivia. It could keep my kids safe. That thought sparked something inside me, a small feeling of self-worth I hadn't felt in a long time. As the hospital team got me ready for surgery, I asked Valerie for my phone. One last thing. My hand shook as I typed 2 messages. The first one went to my bank, stop all future automatic payments to my parents. The second was to my parents, I'm done sending money. My kids and I deserve more than being ignored. Don't contact me again. Sending those messages felt like dropping a heavy load I'd carried forever. As they rolled me into surgery, I still felt scared and in pain, but now, I also felt something new, freedom. The surgery was a success, but I was left weak and tired. I stayed in the hospital for 5 days, fading in and out of sleep, with machines beeping around me. Olivia was amazing. She stayed with the twins, playing with them during the day and taking them home at night. Her gentle voice kept them calm. One day, feeling a bit more awake, I checked my phone. 27 missed calls, tons of texts from my parents and Jessica. I braced myself and started reading. My parents' messages were what I expected. First, confusion, why did you stop the payments? Then anger, how could you do this to us? Then begging, we need that money for the mortgage. Not once did they ask if I was okay, not one message about my health or the twins. My dad's last text made it clear, you can't just cut us off. We booked a cruise next month. The tickets are non-refundable. A cruise, that's what mattered to them. Jessica's texts were different. Mom and Dad said you had a minor procedure. What's going on? Why are they so upset about money? It hit me, they lied to her, made my emergency sound like nothing. Still tired, I told her the truth, about the surgery, the danger, and how our parents refused to help. She replied right away, oh my God, Natasha, I didn't know it was that serious. They told me you were being dramatic. I would have watched the twins if I'd known. I'm sorry, I believed her. Jessica wasn't cruel, she was just shaped by the same parents who had pushed me aside. Maybe this would help her see the truth about them. When I got out of the hospital, I was exhausted, physically weak, emotionally drained, but I had decisions to make. I hired Olivia part-time to help with the twins while I recovered. I called a lawyer to make a will, naming a trusted friend as their guardian. It wasn't going to be my parents. I also blocked their numbers, leaving only limited contact with Jessica, to see if she meant her apology. That $2,500 I'd sent them every month, it was a third of my income as a graphic designer. Without that weight, I could afford Olivia and maybe even start rebuilding the emergency fund James's death had drained. The first night back home, lying in bed while the twins slept across the hall, I felt everything: guilt for cutting off my parents, fear of doing this alone, but also a growing sense of self-respect. Then Jessica texted, I just fought with Mom and Dad about how they treated you. I'm at a hotel tonight. Can we talk tomorrow? Maybe I wasn't as alone as I thought. 2 weeks later, I was still recovering. The incision site hurt if I moved too quickly, but I was getting stronger. Olivia came every morning to help with the twins as I worked from home. My clients were understanding, letting me ease back into my work. Jessica came by twice, bringing meals, lasagna one day, soup the next, and playing with the twins. Our conversations were awkward at first, like we were strangers, but one night, as Ethan and Emily stacked blocks, she opened up. They always made it seem like you pulled away from us, she said, her voice soft. I didn't see how they pushed you out. That night, I saw a different side of Jessica, not the spoiled sister I envied, but someone who was beginning to see the truth. Then came the knock I'd been expecting. Through the peephole, I saw my parents, Mom with her designer purse, Dad with his arms crossed, impatience written all over his face. My heart raced, but I opened the door. What do you want? I asked, trying to sound calm. Natasha, darling, we've been so worried, Mom began, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. You haven't answered our calls. We just wanted to make sure you and the twins are okay. We're fine, I said, if that's all. It's not, Dad interrupted, pushing the door open slightly. We need to talk about this financial mess. The bank called about our mortgage, and we had to use our cruise savings. I couldn't believe it. No. How are you? No. Are the kids okay? Just money? I asked. I told you, I'm done, I said. I meant it. But sweetie, Mom whined, we rely on that money. We changed our lifestyle because you promised to help. Promise? I snapped. I sent it because I felt guilty while you couldn't even help with the twins when I had surgery. Dad's face hardened. That's not fair. We had plans, he added. Plans more important than my life? I asked. The doctor said I might not survive. Did you even ask? Their silence spoke volumes. We made one mistake, Mom whispered, sounding dramatic. Are you punishing us? This isn't punishment, I said, a calm feeling washing over me. It's a consequence. I've spent my life begging for your love, and when I needed you, you chose a concert. Emily wandered in, holding her giraffe. There's my grandbaby, Mom cooed. Grandma brought presents. But Emily backed away, unsure of these strangers. I think you should leave, I said. I'll reach out when I'm ready. But the money, Dad started. Isn't your concern anymore, I said, closing the door. The next morning, they returned, with Aunt Patty, the family peacemaker. Natasha, be reasonable. She called through the door I wouldn't open. Your parents are struggling. They managed before I helped them, I replied. They retired early knowing their savings weren't enough. Mom's voice cracked. We counted on you. We canceled our cruise, and we might lose the house. It was clear now, they had twisted my temporary help into a permanent obligation. I'm recovering and raising 2 kids, I said. This is over. I walked away from their knocking. That day, Dad sent a family-wide email claiming I'd abandoned them after all their sacrifices. He left out their choice to go to a concert instead of helping me, trying to paint me as the villain, but it backfired. Cousin Michael replied, didn't you just buy a boat? Uncle Robert, and Aunt Diana that diamond bracelet at Thanksgiving? Others messaged me for the truth. Even Aunt Patty called, shocked. They said it was a minor procedure. I didn't know. Jessica and I wrote one response. I had emergency surgery with risks. My parents chose concert tickets over my kids. I'm focusing on recovery now. The support was overwhelming. Michael's wife brought meals. A cousin offered babysitting. Jessica spent weekends with us, bonding with the twins. Valerie connected me with a widow support group. My first Zoom meeting felt like a new beginning. Meanwhile, my parents' world crumbled. Jessica found out they'd taken a second mortgage for the boat, depending on my money forever. They're not broke, she said, just overspent. They could sell stuff. Their desperate calls faded as I built a new life, not from duty, but from love. A month later, Jessica called. They got a foreclosure notice. They have 60 days to pay or lose the house. Their retirement funds are gone, spent on the boat and a bad investment. That night, they texted, begging, Mom admitting, we thought you'd cave after a week. It made me angry. They'd never respected my boundaries, but my life was moving forward. The support group introduced me to Diana, a real estate agent and widow who helped me sell my apartment and buy a house. I started designing memorial websites, a side gig born from James's memory, giving me purpose. Then my parents showed up again, spreadsheet in hand. We need $144,000, Dad said, desperate. Sell the boat, I suggested. We'd lose money, he argued. The timeshare, Mom said, bad market. Those are luxuries, I replied. Luxuries you can't afford, I added. We could with your help, Dad pressed. What have you done for me? I asked. The twins ran in, and Mom reached for Emily, who hid. They don't know you, I said. You chose that. We'll lose everything, Mom whispered. I lost James, I said. We survived. You will too. 3 months after surgery, they sold their house, downsized to a condo, and sold the boat and timeshare at a loss. Jessica said they blamed me publicly, but I didn't care. The truth won out. Family supported me. Diana helped me buy a 3-bedroom home. My business grew. I found community, neighbors, and playdates. Jessica became the sister I always wanted. 6 months later, Mom sent a letter apologizing. I was jealous of your strength. We failed you. I'm sorry. They'd restructured their lives. Dad worked part-time. They lived simply. Jessica said therapy was changing them, especially after Dad's health scare. A year later, I met them at a cafe. They looked different, humbler. Dad cried, I've been a terrible father. Mom said therapy helped. I shared twin photos, not promising forgiveness, but listening. Can we know our grandchildren someday? Dad asked. If you prove it with actions, I said, walking away. I felt peace, not obligation, but the strength of a mother who had claimed her worth. If you relate to this story, if you've ever fought alone or set boundaries to protect your family, please like, share, and subscribe. Comment below with your thoughts or experiences. Your support keeps these stories alive. Thank you for watching.